Hi, welcome to our designer series, Joanne Heyman, our dear friend, our muse.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here on International Women's Day. What a treat.
Yeah, we wanted to have a different way to celebrate it. And normally we invite our designers, but you're such a profound, such a wonderful person. We felt it would be a great opportunity for our friends to get to know you and share your wisdom with us, and we can celebrate it all together.
I can't think of a better way to celebrate it than to be with you two wonderful people and just to be in conversation like this. I think that conversation is something so many of us have been missing for the past year. And even though we can't be in person, at least we can do it like this and see each other.
Exactly. We accept it in any way, because
yeah.
Being connected, being together is really, for me personally, it's one of the reasons why we survive. And this year definitely proved it.
Yeah.
We want to be with each other.
In any way.
Exactly. Joanne, so I want to introduce you to our friends also, all about you, because they don't know you. You've changed multiple hats in your lifetime, which is wonderful, because that gives you the richness, the depth. And you've been in fashion business, which is a very crazy business, I know firsthand, very intense. And definitely you learn a lot during that journey. And you stopped that journey, you started another journey. You became a life coach, career coach in the recent years. So would you like to tell a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So thank you so much for the invitation and for the introduction. And it's true. Not only have I worn many hats, I actually really like hats. So it's the perfect metaphor for me. So I actually started my career in not-for-profits in international development. And I spent the first 25 years of my career after graduate school working in what I call the pro-social sector. So for mission-driven organizations, whether it was foundations or consulting with grant-making organizations. And so I always had this sort of feeling of mission, go out there, make something happen, and felt that very strongly. And my last executive director job was, as you said, in fashion. I was the executive director, the first full-time executive director of Donna Karen's Urban Zen Foundation. So first of all, one and only job I've ever had where I had a clothing allowance, which was awesome. You know me well, you know how excited that was. But it was this wonderful opportunity to work with an extraordinary designer and help bring all of what she wanted to offer to the world into reality through programming and all different kinds of things that we did. So I did sort of skirt the edges of the fashion community in that sense. And then after running the Urban Zen Foundation for a couple of years, I was very inspired by Donna as well as other women entrepreneurs. And I decided that I wanted to go out and see if I could do something on my own. I was very inspired to go out and try to create and lead something. So I left my position at the Urban Zen Foundation and started consulting, actually. And I consulted to Urban Zen and to some other fashion designers, as well as people who are running foundations and nonprofits. And through the process of starting my consulting business, I met a woman who was my coach. And through the process of being coached by her, I realized that this was really profound. It had a tremendous impact on the way I thought about and executed my business. And so I was introduced to coaching first as a client, and then realized that perhaps there was something here for me as well. So I went through a pretty intensive training program, came out of it a year later, and really then for the past 10 decades have been weaving together the consulting and the coaching. I actually, Yildiz, I refer to my coaching as integrative because I integrate life and executive coaching. In fact, when people would say to me, are you a life or an executive coach? I would say yes. So I call it integrative because I also bring to bear what I believe are sort of the best in both personal and professional development practices to my clients. So now I have the great good fortune of working with people who are founders of companies, founders of organizations, members of senior leadership teams, but across industries and across the country, which gives me, one, an opportunity to work with extraordinary people, but two, also an opportunity to take lessons from one place and apply them to the other. So I'm constantly, listening and cross-pollinating, and it makes every day very rich and hopefully brings something to the clients that's a little bit deeper than they might otherwise get.
But you nailed it. You said you are not only focusing on career coaching, but it's integrated personal. Yes. I don't think we can separate the two. It's all together. Whatever we experience and learn in life, we bring it to our home or to our business. It's definitely, we are one. It is one person, very personal.
It's so true. I mean, especially now with COVID. So forget the fact that our office is also our living room. All right. You're in your showroom. So even leaving aside the fact that we don't have physical differentiation anymore, for so many people who are in an opportunity to make choices about the work that we do, you want to bring your whole self to it, which doesn't mean you don't have boundaries, but there really is that whole self. And so, if for anybody who's listening, who's a parent and also a manager, that those can be similar things sometimes, the way that you think about developing somebody, giving them skills, independence, listening to their voice. And so if we look at that as a richness, as opposed to a problem, things start to look very different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this year is a very different year. And it was so difficult to get you on the phone this year because you've been nonstop working. So it shows you that this transition year is definitely, we need all the support we can get. For us, it was quite shocking. Of course, we created this perfect business model for us very selfishly. We wanted to be with our friends. We wanted to support young designers. How about we create a business model? We bring them together in my home so I can be the Turkish hospitality. Like, it was perfect. This is like after 20 years of Luca racehorse, nonstop working. This was like, oh, dream come true. And then COVID pandemic happens. It's like, holy, what are we doing?
I know.
I mean, our purpose isn't gone. Forget about all the designers are relying on us to showcase their things. Our friends are in their homes. They don't have a place to go. It was shocking. And after a month of cooking nonstop, Aylin and I, and posting on the Instagram our grandma recipes.
Your little meatballs, your meatballs.
So we felt like, we were connecting with our friends. Fashion was just a tool for us. Like it was really, we realized even with cooking, we were somehow feeling like we are touching them. And during pandemic, that's why we came out with different ideas. We said, okay, our business model is not a business model because it's successful. Our business model is successful because we are figuring out ways how to be with our friends, with our designers. And we started this crazy Zoom shows. Each rack, we are talking about our trips. This is inspiration from Peru. This is inspiration. We're having fun, and we realize we're entertaining our friends in their home. They are not leaving. And you are figuring out there is no roadmap to happiness. That was making us happy. And in return, they were happy. So we were happier because they were happy.
It all feeds on itself, right?
Exactly. So it was a transformation year for business, definitely.
Yes,
but personally also for Aylin and I, we somehow got courageous to try new things. We would have stuck with our own, this is working, why to change it model for a while. And it definitely got us out of our comfort zone. So what was it like for you this year?
So I want to reflect on something I heard you say, and then I'll be happy to talk about what it was like for me. Because I heard you say something that I think is so important for all of us to take in. We've all heard the word pivot. Goodness knows how many times this year we have to, everything is pivoting, right? I feel like, you know, you're on a top. But what you and Aylin did so beautifully is you figured out what was essential about who you are, about what your business is really about. And then what could emerge is the next business model. So instead of getting fixated, like a lot of people do, well, this is the way we do it. This is our product. This is our service. This is the way we do it. You did like the deep, really important, and I would say transformative work of understanding what was essential. What gave you joy? Why did you go into this business? What is it actually really about? And then you were able to construct a container that allows for it. So I just wanted to reflect that back to you, because that's something that I coach a lot of my clients on. And you just gave a perfect illustration of what that looks like in real life. And of course, with your beautiful smile. So like, I feel like I should take you with me to clients. This year has been, I mean, it's been revolutionary in certain ways and more of the same in others. So I've been working for myself and from home for a decade. So the only thing that happened to me early on in the pandemic was that I had 4 adorable housemates and office mates, my husband, both of my daughters, and one of their live-in boyfriends. So all of a sudden, you know, this home office, which I'm used to having by myself from 7:45 in the morning until 6:45 at night, was now populated with people. And I was very grateful that they wanted to be here, that we had a home that could accommodate all of us. A little bit tight, but so for me, it was, how do I also think about sort of what is essential and how do I support my clients with no playbook? They have no playbook and I have no playbook in terms of what they're facing. And so the day to day wasn't different. I mean, a little bit more time on Zoom, whereas I might have spent the day in meetings or on the phone. But the pandemic enabled me to support my clients as they went through something transformative. And I felt very privileged to be able to go with them on that journey. We had a lot of conversations about not knowing the answers to things and doing exactly, like, again, you're like the beautiful poster child for this, being agile. Okay, we don't know what things are going to look like. Let's try something, right? Let's try something. Let's try an approach to delivering our product, our service, you know, whatever it is, letting go of things being perfect, letting go of things being, you know, clearly the way they used to be. And any leader or individual with whom I worked who was willing to try things, to understand what was truly essential about what they did, to learn from the experiment, has succeeded pretty successfully, even in difficult times. And so the reason that was hard to get me on the phone is that I was always on the phone or on the Zoom, because all of us need a whole different kind of support when we are stepping into the unknown. You have a business partner who happens to be your sister, which is magnificent. So you can have a level of honesty and vulnerability and excitement and fear and all of those things with her. Not everybody has that sort of sitting right next to them. And so for me as a coach, sort of being that person sometimes and just listening, letting them come with questions, fears, uncertainty, whatever it was. Some days that was actually enough, not to have answers, but to listen to the questions and to listen to the issues in a space that was safe, that was sacred, that was where it was okay not to be okay. And then for leaders to teach them how to resource themselves so they can then be there for other people. And I would say one of the things I'm seeing most often now, I was actually just on a coaching call before this, is, you know, as leaders, people are exhausted. So how can we show up with energy, with focus for our teams as well? So a whole other level. So I'm giving you a very long answer to your question, but that's my answer.
So you're saying something very important, energy, as a leader or as a friend or anyone who you are supporting. And there are times that you don't feel that energy,
Right.
And you feel like it's not fair. People are relying on you for that energy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's been a long ride, a year of creating energy from I don't know where. So sometimes it doesn't come so easily. I mean, there are ways that I do it personally, but I want to ask you after to you what you do. So I have a routine. I usually on days that I don't have energy, I dress up. I haven't worn black, I think, all year this year. I'm trying to help myself to be that energetic me. And I put a lipstick. I seriously, maybe it's crazy or it's only me. I lift up, I look at the mirror. Okay, I'm ready to start the day positively. I don't know. That's my routine. What would you suggest? Much more profound than my suggestion.
Well, no, actually, I do a version of that. So I would suggest, I have like a range of things. It also depends if I'm dealing with people who have to be very client facing or not, but regardless. And it sounds so silly to say this because, we know it. It's important to remind ourselves, sleeping well, eating well, but like really healthy, eating well is really important for energy. Getting outside every day, really great for energy. And then developing daily practices. So there are certain practices that I find very supportive and energy given. One is meditation. The other, I mean, since we're talking about this and we're among friends, is, an indulgent skincare routine. Like the smells and the feels of the things that, you get yourself ready in the morning. I'm like you. I mean, hello, right? A little bit of makeup, dressing. This is one of my favorite Yildiz Aylin VLTS blouses, that Valentinas.
Yes.
I
Sexy
put on
woman.
something that makes me feel good. I put on jewelry. My husband's a jeweler, so that's close to me. I carry him with me. I like to be dressed and prepared, but part of that is also what I feed inside of myself. So it's what I eat. It's the sunshine and the air. It's some movement, even if it's not aggressive movement. It can be a walk, it can be qigong, it can be yoga, but some sort of morning practices that really sort of get me ready for the day. And it doesn't matter for me if I'm going to see somebody or not. I do it for myself. Like you were saying, it brings up my level of energy. So even if I'm even just talking to somebody on the phone, I'm bringing energy to the phone call. So because I love clothing and makeup and dressing up, that gives me energy. For somebody else, maybe that's not the case. And so what I encourage everybody to do is be really honest. Do what gives you energy. Do what makes you feel ready and good so that you can focus, so that you can bring your best self to whatever it is. And one of the things I also work with my clients a lot on is I get, sometimes I'll get pushback, at least early on. Oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time to meditate, Joanne. And I'm like, that's baloney, because time is not just linear. So if you take 10 minutes, let's say, to do a little meditation in the morning, it's not like you're taking 10 minutes away from your day. You're taking 10 minutes to give yourself focus and energy. So you're going to bring that to everything else you do. It's not an either or. And I think that when we can liberate ourselves from that either or, that very, sort of binary way of thinking, we can be much more creative in the way we fuel ourselves and get ourselves ready for whatever it is we have in front of us that day.
Sometimes we feel like we have to do all of these things to earn the gift of feeling good about ourselves. Yeah. I feel like what you're saying, it's the reverse, really. You need to take care of yourself first.
Absolutely. So and then you can bring that precious focus and attention and listening and creativity and whatever it is to your day. And maybe you're bringing it to the workplace. Maybe you're bringing it to your family. Maybe you're bringing it to the community, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I invite everyone to think, how can I spend my morning in such a way that I can meet the day well?
Exactly.
And then design it, really design it, make a commitment that this is what I'm going to do. And, for those of us who used to commute to and from offices or places, that's found time. That's time that you're not walking, taking the subway, driving, however it is you move from here to there. How can you do with that time?
Absolutely.
Give that to yourself in a different way.
Yeah, some of our friends are writing some questions. Kim is asking, has it been a trend? Do we see a trend how people are shopping? So I want to respond to that.
Please.
We've been selling a lot of tops, a lot of blouses, of course, because we are virtually in front of people more than physically. So I would say colorful tops have been very strong for us all year. Interesting, textures.
Okay, I want everything.
And color, of course, like this is a new spring cotton and cashmere blend sweater, which we almost sold out. And scarves have been very important. Again, it's natural because it's around the face. Earrings, necklaces, like how you present yourself in the little screen is basically how you're going to reflect your energy.
Mm-hmm. No, it's great. It's a great question. And I think that's the thing is, all the things that you just mentioned are timeless. Even when we can we'll go forward and we can see each other's feet and legs and tushies, those tops you're still going to want to wear, and those scarves you're still going to want to wear.
Exactly. So this year, I feel like because of pandemic, we were resourceful to bring our friends and designers together virtually. We were able to reach out to designers that are all around the world. We hosted our designer, Cape Cod. She's a skin, purse, and wallet designer. So she was able to come. Another designer from Turkey, she's famous with her jewelry. She's the coolest girl. She does layering everyday jewelry. Not like your husband's gorgeous Oscar Heyman jewelry with the gorgeous
commercial.
Ours is a little more commercial. She told about her journey, and Nansao with her cashmeres, how she helps people in Mongolia because they have the raw material, they don't know how to create it. So she went and trained them. So we were able to really connect with so many designers with their good cause, how they are thinking to make world a better place. And it was really because of pandemic, all of a sudden our friends were able to meet all of these incredible women, founders and designers of international brands. So I'm grateful in a way that it forced us to find ways.
It's funny, I would say, even though we can't connect in person, you're so right. Like, we have access to people through Zoom and other technology in a way we might not have before. So instead of it being a barrier, it's now just a new way of doing business. It's a new way of connecting and learning. And because we're talking on International Women's Day, the fact that you showcase women, women designers, women-owned businesses, that seems to be a part of your DNA all along. This is just a way of bringing it forward and connecting the women to each other, which is extraordinary.
Absolutely. Joanne, if you don't mind, I'm going to check the questions a little bit. Please feel free to send us your questions. Joanne, it's such a reflective time. Did you find that most of your clients choose the time to try something new? Or were they feeling shaky or resistant to change with this uncertainty?
Oh, such a good question. So the answer is yes. There were certainly some people who were feeling very uncertain. And I would say that those were the people who maybe felt a deep sense of responsibility to running a company or an organization, and they were very, concerned about taking care of their company, their employees, their teams, their clients. So there was a little bit of uncertainty there. And that's what I was talking about before about, we can just do the best we can do. And I was trying to help give them permission to come up with answers that maybe are working now that may not work in the future, but let's just take this one step at a time and really break it down. The first yes to this fantastic question is a number of my clients have taken the time to start to do things a little bit differently. I'm thinking of one client that runs a literary organization. He himself is a writer, and he decided that one of the things he could offer his staff was time to work on their own creative projects, whatever they might be. So he created Creative Mondays. And Mondays were days, it wasn't personal time off, wasn't vacation. It was time for anybody on the team who wanted to pursue a creative endeavor, either a new one or one that was very close to them already. And so by allowing for that for himself and for others, it gave permission to do something that was very meaningful and deep and personal for people. I have found that for many of us who have probably walked more miles in a year than we have in a decade, that those walks became places for contemplation. I mean, you could either, put in your earbuds and, take a call or listen to a podcast, both of which are fine and both of which I do, or you could use it as time to do exactly nothing except walk and look around. And so I have found that my clients and friends and family have chosen, it's not just one or the other, a couple of different things in order to give them a self of ease to sort of to reflect. There are some people like this beautiful woman on the screen with me who cooked up a massive, delicious storm in the first couple of months. And, that's a creative outlet for many people. So yes, lots of looking for creativity and solace, and also lots of insecurity and unknowing.
Absolutely, absolutely. I see lots of friends on the participant list. Please feel free to ask any question you have to us, to Joanne or me. Oh my God, Wendy, my sister-in-law from Italy is here. Shirley, Martha, your mom is here. Lynn, Lori.
Oh, it's like old home week for us.
Yes, your roommate Lori Wagner is one of my closest friends. They are all waving at you. It's a small world.
It is a small world. But I see questions in the Q&A, Yildiz, about how do we make ways to have routines stick when there's so much uncertainty? Shall we try to answer that one?
That would be great.
Okay, I'll take a first stab since I get paid to do this kind of stuff, and then I'll let you jump in. So one of my favorite books that I recommend to almost all of my clients and my husband is called Atomic Habits by a guy named James Clear. And it's a brilliant, brilliant book. And he talks about how you form a new habit, which is a little bit to this question of routine. And you do it by making something really small. You get rid of any friction and you layer. So we all know about layering here on this call, right? Because we wear our scarves and we have our, our Y and A beautiful things to layer our garments. But layering habits, or stacking them, as some people say, is a great way to build a routine that sticks. So if you want to start meditating, you find it, you decide to meditate at a time when you're already doing something else on a regular basis. After I brush my teeth, I'm going to sit down for 5 minutes and meditate, or whatever it is. If you decide that you want to have a walking routine and you listen to podcasts, you put on your earbuds, you put on the daily or whatever that morning podcast is, and you walk during it. So you stack a habit on top of one that you already have to minimize friction and increase the likelihood that you'll continue to do it. So that's my one little micro tip. And read James's book because it's great and it's fast.
Excellent, excellent. My routine is pretty much creating a moment for catch up with friends or family. Definitely one contact minimum a day, and mom calls every morning, so that's also part of my routine. And I try to do, this year I'm doing more exercise because I'm sitting more, I feel. And Physique 57 is where I turn myself. My friend Jennifer has this company with, it's not too hard on the body, but hard on the body, but it's not so running. And so it's been kind of religious experience, like twice a week I do that, once a week I do that. So it feels, creating routines and sticking with it makes my pandemic experience a little more manageable. I'm controlling what's in my power, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is that if part of it also can be a mindset shift from I have to do this to I get to do this, right? I get to exercise. I get to cook. I get to go for a walk with my friend down the street. That mindset shift from have to get to can be actually really powerful, because then you see it as a gift and an opportunity, as opposed to a burden and something just to check off. Like, that's not quite as much fun for most of us.
Exactly. Another friend is asking, from your experience as a coach, did you find men and women acted differently to changes this year?
Yes. Oh, you want me to say more?
Share.
I have to explain myself. I found men to be my male clients. I'm not going to drag my poor sweet husband into this, so we'll just leave it in the professional side. I think the uncertainty really rocked them pretty profoundly. The being comfortable with not knowing was much harder. I'm generalizing now, but I'm trying to answer the question. The men who I coach are exceptional individuals. I mean, they're really amazing, and they wouldn't be in coaching if they didn't want to do deep work. So they are, by definition, just remarkable. Both the men and the women who I work with. You don't come to coaching and say, well, I don't want to change anything, because that's just a waste of time and money. So I would say it was the uncertainty piece that provided a lot of challenge for them, and that not being comfortable, not having answers. And I think for many of them, there was also sort of a recognition that life and success are made up of many, many different things. And if they're only focused on the workplace and not devoting time and energy to other things, they're missing out. And so I think there was a wonderful widening of eyes, let's just call it, around what a full day or week or month or year can look like on the positive side.
It's for us. We started adding men to our client base because they realized how easy we made it for their wives, between the rack behind us, shipping a collection of clothes for their wives, and they try on, they ship back. they started connecting with us for holidays, for Christmas vacation, Valentine's. So we realized that they just wanted convenience from us, and we didn't realize it because we were selfishly sitting in our apartment having Turkish coffee with our friends. We never thought about we can be doing this without the Turkish coffee, far from far. But it was funny that now we connect with a whole group of men who want to make their woman happy.
No, I think that's great. And I also think, I mean, I have a number of dear friends and neighbors whose children are much younger. So they're still in, everything from infant through high school. And I think that there's an interesting conversation happening in, among heterosexual couples who I know around responsibility, division of labor and what that looks like. And are we sort of in the same kind of lanes that we were always in? Is this a time to maybe mix things up? And so I see families having different kinds of conversations around who's responsible for what and what that can and should look like.
Exactly. So another friend is asking, with the change of now virtual world, lots of Zoom meetings, do you foresee office spaces coming back live again, or is it going to be virtual business for some time?
So just to be super transparent, this is not my area of expertise. I mean, I have opinions about almost everything, but this is not, and I do know, I'm in New York. I know plenty of people who work in real estate, including my brother does commercial real estate. What I see a lot of the trend in my clients and my friends and neighbors is very much a hybrid. Again, I was coaching somebody earlier today, chief executive officer and founder of a tech, a cybersecurity firm, and he's at about 50%. And so what he's doing is he's sort of sequencing, who's going to come in and when. We want to keep occupancy low, but we need people to come here to work on things. I think part of it is going to be the nature of business. One of the things that we have all learned, I believe, except for the most hermetic of us, even introverts, is how much we get from being with people physically in proximity. And so what I am seeing is that the office is going to be a place to gather, but for very specific reasons. So you're not just going to go there just because necessarily. And again, this is going to be industry specific, but you're going to go there for a reason. You're going to go there because you're going to meet with people. There's something that you're going to do. And so I'm seeing offices of my clients being more like hubs where people come together. They're for companies that have a lot of young people living with multiple other people in apartments in urban areas. They may be like pulling their hair out. So offices are a place where you can go, a little bit of change of scenery.
Sure.
So it's a very different purpose. It's not just you get up and you go because that's the only thing you do. You come for a reason. And I think that the configuration of offices is going to reflect that.
Yes. Actually, we opened a showroom here for that purpose, to create a hub for our friends to come one person at a time for safe shopping. So we, sorry?
And coffee.
And coffee, yes. So that has been also working out great, because people are still avoiding big department stores and big store shoppings, and this way they feel safe. And I think with vaccine coming to play, both Aylin and I had our vaccines, and I feel that as people get vaccinated, they will feel a little more open to gathering together. What's your opinion on that? When do you think people will start feeling a little safer to be?
I think you're absolutely, I think it's, when everybody in the group has been vaccinated, depending on the size of the gathering. I mean, clearly we're all being instructed to continue to wear a mask, even if we've been vaccinated, to protect other people, which I hope everybody will take incredibly seriously. I don't think the era of mask wearing is over. I think it's actually just begun. I think we're probably going to find ourselves much like Asian countries where people wear masks during, flu and cold season, which, something we'll just have to get used to, but it probably makes a lot of sense from a public health perspective. I think that once people are vaccinated, there will be more gathering, there will be more travel, people will feel comfortable. One of the questions that I have is, how are we going to greet each other?
Yes.
Right, there's probably going to be a little bit less of the, the putting out your hand or the hugging. I don't know if everybody's going to be sort of namaste ready. But I think it's going to be very interesting also to see what new habits and customs we develop around greeting, gathering, saying farewell, at the end of a party or something. I'm actually curious in a positive way about that. But I am starting to see people convening a lot more. I think this is probably one of the hardest moments, especially for people like myself. And I would say you also, Yildiz, who a little bit extroverted, a little bit social. Like, now's not the time to let down our guard because we're so close, although you've been vaccinated, thank goodness. I've not yet, is to just hold on, that little bit longer until we truly are safe. And then it's going to be so much sweeter when we do see people in person, because we've had this, if absence makes the heart grow fonder. I think we're sort of experiencing that on a global scale now.
Absolutely. No, we will appreciate so much, so many things that we almost took it for granted. No.
Yeah, absolutely.
And definitely being together with friends and traveling. What do you miss the most?
What don't I miss? I actually am able to see, we sort of have an unofficial pod with our family, with our daughters. So I see them. If I didn't, I think that would be incredibly difficult for me. I miss traveling. I mean, I'm very fortunate that most years I travel a good chunk of time for business and for pleasure. And because I'm curious and I like food and all different kinds of locations, I always found that very satisfying, and I've missed that deeply. I miss my friends, but I feel like I can connect with them in some way, at least, even if it's suboptimal. What I really miss are strangers. I miss sort of randomly seeing somebody. I used to work out of an arts club in Chelsea, and I would go and I would sit there and I might have a client come and I might have some phone calls, and then I would just chat with somebody sitting next to me, and those random encounters with people. So, I always think a great dinner party is one where you go and we forget the fantastic food and drink, but where some people and you don't know some people. So there's a level of comfort. I get to see my friend. And then there's somebody new and you get to learn their story. And I miss that.
That's how we met.
That's how we met,
in
exactly.
A random dinner party.
Yes, exactly. And so that opportunity to meet new people and to hear their story and all of that, I really feel that hole right now.
It will be so much sweeter when we can.
So much sweeter. Absolutely.
So I feel like we're coming to an end. I will check one more time the questions. Okay. If not, we can wrap up. Mm-hmm. I think we addressed all of them.
I'm looking at the questions too to make sure I haven't left anything unanswered. Mm-hmm. No, I think we got the questions so far. Any last thoughts? Anybody else want to share?
Aylin is adding on that her 2 cents. She's saying that fashion will change. It will be dressier because we're so used to wearing a little more, loungewear or just a top and a bottom. It's going to be much more elaborated. We will feel so good about dressing up, accessorizing ourselves, going out.
It's so true. I mean, Aylin, you know me very well now. So there's a group of friends in my neighborhood, and we get together socially distanced for cocktails. And we've been doing this at least once a week for 13 months. It is serious business, this cocktail party. And we, with our ski parkas on or with our sundresses on, of course, you know where I get my sundresses. You know, we've been doing this. And they were teasing me the other day because I came and I was wearing high-heeled booties and a furry jacket and all of that. And they said, how come you're dressed up? And I'm like, why not? Like, I've been, you know, it's just me all day long by myself. You know, coming out like this gives me a reason to, you know, put on something nice, put myself together. So yes, I think dressing up, many of us are really excited about.
Absolutely, absolutely. So any final thoughts you want to share with us, Joanne?
Well, I want to thank you again, not just for inviting me for this conversation, but also you guys are like the most beautiful example of what I said, like the pivot, the finding what's essential. Your focus is your delight and your focus in your clients' happiness, in their looking beautiful, the beauty inside and out is, to me, just is such an inspiration. All of us, if we could get just a little bit of that energy every day and remind ourselves that, like, when we make other people feel good, that in and of itself some days is more than enough. And you guys are just a great example of that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
You are also beautiful inside out. Our friends are making some last remarks. They are grateful. They are thanking you for this conversation, and they are wishing the best. Thank you so much for being part of Women's Day with us and with our friends.
And thank you all. I mean, time is precious, and the fact that so many of you chose to spend some time with us this afternoon is really quite lovely. So thank you.
Thank you. You inspire us. Thank you so much.
Mhm.